Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So, we've got guys an update on a massive multi-day severe weather outbreak that is currently underway across the south central United States. We have a ton of things to go over in this video with a lot of new information, but we're heading into the night of our one of the days of this massive multi-day severe weather outbreak. So let's get right into it. So take a look here at your current satellite. What we've got going on at the moment is we've got this disturbance out there into Texas. This is what's really bringing all those severe thunderstorms into really all of Texas, the heartland of Texas. But some of these storms have been producing tornadoes, but very large hail has been the story throughout today. We've been talking about hail sizes up to softball size hail, so that's pretty intense. We also do have is another little line of storms that's moving its way across portions of Arkansas into Missouri, and then especially Illinois. My friend Davis lives out there in Illinois. He just got hit by a line of storms. But that's pretty much all that we've got going on. This is what's going to be bringing our next round and more intense round of severe weather as we get later into next week. So you can see we have a nice low pressure right there. You got that comma shape. That's a strengthening storm system. That's a very strong storm that's marching its way onshore on the west coast. That's going to be moving through the United States, and it's going to kind of, it's going to strengthen with the low level jet, the low and mid level jet. We're going to see a lot of moisture just get pumped up into that region. But yeah, that's definitely something to watch. That's something that we're going to be watching throughout the next couple of days. So take a look at your current alerts. All right, so starting out here into southern Texas, we have in the yellow shade a tornado watch that is going in effect for areas near the border of Texas and Mexico. That's in the yellow shade. In the red shade, you have tornado warnings. That's just for a few little counties, if you're wondering what that means. In the pink shade, you have severe thunderstorm watches. That's a pretty big area going out for most of central Texas. You also do have a few counties in southeastern New Mexico that are under that watch. You got flood watches in the green shade. That's for portions of eastern Texas into eastern and central portions of Oklahoma. You have red flag warnings for portions of western New Mexico and southern Arizona. You have high wind warnings in the gold shade. In the tan shade, you have wind advisories. Pink shade, you have winter storm warnings for the upper elevations of the western United States. And in the purple shade, you have winter weather advisories. And other than that, it's looking pretty quiet at the most part. But this map is going to look a lot differently just in the next few days as our big time storm system comes in. All right, so move on to your SPC look. Let's go back to day one. All right, so this is what we've got going on. You have more of a condensed enhanced risk. So this did actually spread out as of yesterday morning. This stands an enhanced risk, and so now that we're already to the end, towards the end of the event, it's now recondensed. So you have a decently small enhanced risk, not including a populated area at all, only just above 150,000 people. So pretty rural country out there. So not that many cities that will get hit. We do have San Angelo, Texas, still in that enhanced risk. All right, that's driven off by a 10% hatch tornado threat. So that's a pretty, that's a pretty concerning risk. When you get a 10% hatch, a lot of the times it overperforms, and sometimes it also turns out to be a bust. So we kind of just have to, see what we get. Today, I think it was pretty much just like what an average enhanced risk would do, except the tornado threat wasn't that high today. We did have, I believe, 2 confirmed tornadoes today. But as of now, there's not even any, major populated center in the risk area. Only a population of 10,000 people. So, gosh, guys, this is rural Texas out here. This is where you have just open fields. That's all you have out here, other than like Fort Stockton and San Angelo. Those are the only cities, and there are a few little towns, but no, it's just all open fields. So luckily, there are not that many people at all that are in the 10% edge tornado threat. You still have a surrounding 5% and 2% tornado threat getting into the rest of tonight. Here's that wind threat. You're up to a 15% risk. That's in the yellow shade. You have cities like Austin, Texas, Waco or Waco, Texas. I think it's Waco. Abilene, Texas, Killeen, Texas, and Round Rock, Texas. Surrounding areas that you're in the 5% risk for seeing damage and wind gusts. in excess of 50 miles per hour. I believe actually 58. Um, um, in the hail department of things, you have a 30% hatch hail threat. So this kind of speaks for itself. How we saw the softball size hail and the baseball size hail. Yeah, well, you still have the 30% hatch hail threat. I do think we're still going to see damaging hail. So if you're under any severe thunderstorm warning, you got to stay away from windows tonight because you don't want any baseball size hail to smash through your windows and to shatter glass. I mean, that's going to be happening for a few people out here, but you just don't want to risk it happening to you. But you still have that in that red shade. You have the 30% hatched. In the surrounding areas of that, you're in the 15%. That's in the yellow shade, and then the 5% is in the brownish red shade. All right, and we go over to day two. This is for tomorrow. We did actually get an upgrade. We went up to a slight risk here. This is going for pretty much southern Texas. The only major city really includes San Antonio, Texas. You do have actually Austin, Texas, San Marcos, New Braunfels, Texas, and Del Rio, Texas. That's in the slight risk. That's the level 2 out of 5 risk. Surrounding areas of that, you're in the marginal risk. That includes a big area with a lot of cities out there. But I don't think tomorrow's going to pop off as much as it did today, actually. And this should stay at a slight risk. I'd be shocked, actually, if we got up to an enhanced risk. So I think it's looking good that our enhanced risk streak is going to be broken. I mean, it's just absolutely insane how many days in a row. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be that crazy of a risk day tomorrow. You only have a 2% tornado threat in the green shade. Wind threat, you have a 15% in the yellow shade. Surrounding areas of that, and you're 5%. And then you also have a 15% hail threat. That's in the yellow shade, and then a 5% wind hail threat in the brownish red shade. Okay, day three. This was the day 4 yesterday where we had the 30% enhanced risk. That actually was issued starting day 5. Now we're up to day 3, so now we can get if this is going to be what level it's going to be 1 through 5. So we're still up to an enhanced risk. This is a level 3 out of 5 risk that did get extended, so it's pretty broad now. That includes areas just from the Texas and Oklahoma border all the way up through central Oklahoma and east central Kansas. That's in the orange shade. You have a level 3 out of 5 risk. That's including Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Topeka, Kansas. I think I pronounced it Topeka, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Topeka. But anyways, those are major cities that are in the way of this enhanced risk. That is a total population of over 5 million people, so decently populated there. Surrounding areas of that, you're in the level 2 out of 5 slight risk. That's in the yellow shade, and then you're in these marginal risk if you're in the green shade. That's level 1 out of 5. Because it's on day 3, we don't have the the probabilistic breakdown of tornadoes, wind, and damaging large hail, but we do get the probabilistic forecast of just all severe weather, put together. You're up to a 30% hatch. So that means that this is a high-end enhanced risk, what we've got. So that means that this does have the potential to be upgraded to a moderate risk. And you can't just look at an enhanced risk and say, oh, because it's 30% hatch, it's going to get to a moderate risk. I'll tell you, that's 99% of the time not true. It has to depend on what kind of setup it is. And that's what we're going to be figuring out in the next portion of the update. So, day 4, you still have the slight risk. It's pretty broad. This has been expanding very intensely throughout today. Now, this includes a lot of the lower Midwest that goes down through the Missouri Valley, and then it goes really through northern Arkansas. But this entire area here, is in the slight risk. This is already a level 2 out of 5 risk. I think that somewhere inside here, it might even be like inside here, I think there'll be an enhanced risk that'll pop up in there, and we'll just have to see what we get as we push this over to day 3 and then day 2. But yeah, I'm pretty concerned about this day 4 outlook, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see some major changes with that as we move along. Day 5, it's huge. Okay, this is going to be a very concerning day as well. I expect upgrades to this as well. I mean, you can already tell with the population of just under 38 million people in a slight risk alone. I mean, you've got to expect at least an enhanced risk somewhere in this area. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be an outbreak because we don't know that yet, but I can tell you something significant is not only going to be happening on Monday, but I do also think that this is Wednesday. So I do also think that Wednesday we're going to see potentially a similar kind of setup here with this massive slight risk on day 5. So we really got to pay attention to this closely, and we're going to break it down in this video. So let's get over to our NAM 3 kilometer model. We're taking a look here at what we had with our storms out in Texas. So this is what we got going on. We had storms that are kind of bubbling around that low pressure center, producing large hail damage, wind gusts, and tornadoes. We continue this into tonight, and you can see how it formed. It formed pretty much that line of storms we were talking about, that cluster of storms. We saw that last night on the NAM. It's going to try and show the same thing. I think it's pretty much certain that this is going to do it. But you could have some nasty storms moving towards the DFW metro area. I'm very concerned about large hail and then some isolated spots of damage of wind gusts. I don't think the tornado threat is going to be high at all, but I think it's going to be. It's not like it's going to be non-existent. But it's just I'm not that concerned about it. But you can see what I'm talking about. We have just a massive cluster of storms that are just charging their way across central Texas into Oklahoma. And some of these may be supercells, so there's a chance for obviously that spin in the atmosphere. But this moves over to 5 a.m. and 5 a.m. as we get to the overnight hours. This is the main cooling time of the day, the extreme early morning hours. This is when the coldest of temperatures when you hit your daily low. Okay, so that's really going to keep that severe threat bogged down, and I don't think that we're going to see a huge threat of severe weather, at least opening up into the morning of tomorrow. So I think your Sunday should be clear, obviously not with sunshine, but just without any severe weather. I mean, you'll still have that slight risk, obviously, and that will be for the morning hours as well. I mean, you can still see we do. I think we will have definitely some spots of severe storms. All right, I think that's definitely certain, but it's just not going to be that widespread. So it's definitely not going to be an outbreak, and it's just not going to be that intense. But we have some storms that are strong severe storms from really the Dallas metro area, Dallas Fort Worth metro area, all the way up through eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas. That's going to be it for really the late morning hours into the afternoon. You can see we really don't get much after that, and this kind of just fizzles out as it moves over towards the Ohio Valley. I did not mean to click for something there, but you see this convection going on. You see these showers. This is the beginning stages of our big time outbreak. This is the enhanced risk day. Now we're entering Monday, or excuse me. Yep. So this is going to be tomorrow, and now we're getting rid of tomorrow. We got rid of that slight risk. These showers, this is the time. This is a ticking time bomb that's about to explode. Okay, once it explodes, you're gonna see insane convection start to just absolutely pop up. And here you go, up in Nebraska, that's your first sign of convection. That's around 1 p.m. But still, down in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, we're still quiet. But I'll tell you guys, just a matter of hours. Boom, there we go. That dry line sets up, and now you've got supercells that are starting to produce tornadoes, starting to spin. Looks like for the evening hours into the overnight hours of of Monday. So for Monday's enhanced risk, what we can take away from this is that this might be an overnight severe threat. I mean, it definitely will be. Because if you look at the afternoon shows nothing other than a few cells up into Nebraska. I mean, it's really going to be overnight hours, but man, is this thing just strong. It produced a bow segment right there. This thing could be producing some, I'm not even kidding, up to 80-mile-per-hour winds. So we could be talking about hurricane force winds with this event. But that looks like a QLCS to me right off the bat. And then these prefrontal supercells. Guys, this is a classic outbreak-looking event to me, just already on the NAM. And the NAM has been absolutely spot on with model run guidance with this storm, so I'm gonna put a lot of faith in the NAM for this one, but it's not looking good for areas into eastern Kansas and western Nebraska. Western Missouri. I can't say anything for sure, but I'm pretty confident in what the NAM is showing here, and we'll continue to see what kind of trends it shows as far as model run guidance goes. But I mean, that definitely looks like a tornado and damage wind gusts producing kind of setup there. All right, so we kind of break this down here. We're going to take a look at your 500 millibar jet stream winds. This is your mid to low level jet. All right, so what you've got is you've got kind of a zonal flow with a little bit of a shortwave trough that's kind of trying to amplify here over Texas. That's kind of what's driving today's severe threat, but it's not that strong. That's not what's going to be causing the severe threat that we're looking at. It's this massive trough digging down into California. This is what we're worried about. This is that negatively tilted trough that's at least trying to get going there, but it's very strong. Okay, you can see your low pressure is well defined. This is positively tilted, but it's going to become negatively tilted very quickly. All right, and so we take this out a little bit longer, and you can see that this still strengthens, and you're getting winds that are over 70 miles per hour, already getting to 80 knots. We're getting to about 70 to 80 knots. That's considered a very strong mid-level jet. That's going to help with tornadoes and wind shear. But look at that. And that is a strengthening trough right there. That's very strong over California into Arizona and Utah. The reason why we don't see severe weather out here is because it's too cold and it's too dry. I mean, I guess you could it just you just never get severe weather, in the spring. I mean, I guess you don't. I guess I shouldn't say never, but you very rarely get severe weather in the spring, just because dry lines oftenly set up kind of like in this general area. So what you'll have with this setup is you'll have the trough that's digging down here and amplifying. That's going to help with the low level instability and just the wind shear and stuff. But you're also going to have this massive moisture return. All right, you're going to have a huge flow of warm air and moisture, high dew points pumping into the warm sector here with this massive ridge that's bumping up. You can see it with the jet stream pattern. Okay, this is the setup that you're going to have. You're going to have cold, dry air plummeting down, pushing that trough down, down south, and just whenever all these things connect, it's going to be right into here. That's why we have the enhanced risk, and we're going to figure out where everything's just going to come together at best. All right, so you can kind of see that shortwave trough helping to bring this thing farther south. This is the main trough. You have a shortwave. This is a small shortwave that's going to try and help bring it down south. The reason why this is not going all the way down to like Texas is because this shortwave is just not strong enough. You can see it's only about 50, 60 knots. It's this that's kind of just staying north. But this is definitely at this point negatively tilted. And you see how it kind of tucks in very closely to that low pressure center. That's a sign of a strengthening storm. That's a severe weather kind of setup right there. That's negatively tilted for sure. Okay, and so we'll look at dew points. But where the strongest mid to low level winds may be with your jet stream, I'm thinking it's going to set up. It's too broad. I think it's going to set up probably somewhere across western Kansas and western Nebraska. And remember, that is a little bit to the north and west of where the enhanced risk is on the SBC. So just looking at your mid-level jet stream winds, it's looking like where the enhanced risk, if the enhanced risk were to be kind of moved a little bit, it would probably move off to the west. But we're going to let the SBC do its thing with that. But that's just based off the 500 millibar jet stream winds. So we take this out for the remainder of the event, and it kind of, you get some spots where this just becomes amplified. It's not like as, it's not as impressive. It's not like picture perfect, it's not textbook anymore. But because you still have that amplified jet stream, because you still have active jet stream, very strong low level winds, you're still going to have a potential for tornadoes, and that's why you have the duo slight risks for day 4 and day 5, and that's why it's still concerning, because remember, you still have jet stream winds that are in excess of 70 knots, and boy, is that enough to cause and spark severe storms. So in any one of these spots that you see that's just amplified, like in here, in here, in here, as long as you have the thermodynamics working with you and you have decently high cape levels, I mean you're set in stone. You're good for seeing severe weather. Okay, so that's gonna be the concerning part of this event. So we go over to your dew points. So this is going to be your thermodynamic side of the event. Already starting out, you can see finally we start to see at least an unorganized dry line start to form somewhere around New Mexico, and then it kind of gets a little disorganized up here. But we're looking at these dew points. We're already seeing widespread 70s. You already know that this warm sector is absolutely monstrous. All right, I'm going to make my color a little bit more brighter. So we're gonna go with yellow here. See how that looks. So your warm sector, it's very big. It's gonna be monstrous because when you have widespread 70-degree dew points, That's just trouble if you're relying on thermodynamics for a severe setup. But here we go. We're getting into tomorrow, and we have that southern severe threat, so that's why we see the highest of dew points farther south. Now let's take this out to Monday and then into Tuesday and Wednesday. Look how all these dew points start to go farther north. That is why that's that moisture turn, the flow of the moisture. It's moving north, getting tucked or kind of brought up with that low pressure center. I'm going to put this to the 18Z NAM so you can see a little bit more farther in the future. And there we go. That's that dry line that starts to form. This is going to help initiation with these storms. This is going to help kind of spark that severe weather. You're going to get supercells that are going to form and kind of, race across this dry line. You're going to see supercells are going to, form across this dry line, and then they're going to be streaking across the central United States. That's going to be another thing, another driving issue into what we're going to be talking about as we get into Monday and into Tuesday. But look how broad this warm sector is, guys. We're seeing 71-degree dew points into almost into Kansas. Okay, so that's very far north. And we see this continuing to get even higher north, and it finally starts to end pretty much the 70-degree dew points extreme southern Kansas. But my oh my, is this dry line just crazy intense. And so thermodynamics wise, I don't see any problem with this storm system will have. And you can actually see as we see that the trough kind of flatten out just with those amplified spots. The dry line's not going to be there because you've already had storms at that point that have initiated. So you already have storms that are moving their way across the region. So you don't really need a dry line if you're talking about thermodynamics for any day past Monday. So really, as long as you have the 70-degree dew points, which is, it's mind-boggling that you're getting 70-degree dew points all the way into Kentucky. Okay, that's very far north, especially for spring. But that warm sector is huge. So if you have the amplified jet stream like that, and you have the intense thermodynamics, you're not gonna have a problem with this severe threat. Really, just it's I think it's gonna overperform. It might even overperform just because of how well this is setting up. Because once again, you have the very high dew points in the 70s so far north, and you have the very intense jet stream winds. So put those together, and it's just not. It's a nasty setup that you're gonna get. All right, so really quickly here, I just want to look at your CAPE levels. We're going to look at surface based, and we'll start this out in the beginning. But here you can see this is convection allowing potential energy. This is basically just the thunderstorm juice they have in the atmosphere. You can see it doesn't get that high, in between tomorrow and Monday's event. But watch as we get into Monday morning. All right, Monday morning, this thing really starts to get going, and boom! Look at here in Texas, we're getting to, what is that, 4,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE. That is insane. That is very, very high. But we're seeing widespread, 3,000 CAPE levels in excess of 3,000 joules per kilograms. Oh gosh, should not use yellow with that. Let's go back to black there. But if you have CAPE levels in excess of 3,000 joules per kilogram, widespread, that's just going to help, initiation. That's going to help with pretty much every aspect of these severe storms. And this continues, and then we get into Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday. Gosh, that's slight risk. I told you guys in the beginning of the video, I'm worried about those two slight risks, and there you have it. You can even see the comma shape. Look at this. You see that right into there? You see how that kind of goes down like that? This is that low pressure center. This is going to be a very dangerous area Tuesday and Wednesday. That is one to watch. That's what we're going to continue to watch. I think this is going to get pushed a little bit farther south. It is pretty far south at this point in the SPC, but gosh, is it really setting up to be I wouldn't say picture perfect, but definitely a very, very good looking setup as if you're looking for severe storms, which we obviously want to avoid that. But at this point, it's looking unlikely that we're going to avoid severe storms. So I kind of wanted to take a look at just the surface-based map, but on the NAMs we can go a little bit farther out because I want to take a few soundings. So we'll start out with tomorrow here. We'll take one in Texas. This is tonight, but let's get into tomorrow. Here we go. This is one in South Dallas, I would say. Wait for this thing to load. So we're just gonna look at photographs and stuff, just see what what kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so we'll start out here with your dew points. You have 68-degree dew points. This is not a great sounding if you're looking for instability. And I mean, you have a good warm sector there, but you don't really see. You want to see these lines spread apart. You want to see the dew points and the temperature line spread apart as much as possible, but they are very close together even as you go up in the atmosphere. So that calls for just very decreased instability. All right, your photograph, it's a little elongated there, but you do have some weak low level rotation. There you go on the potential hazard type, weak tornado. It's a pretty good looking slinky though. You do have some decent rotation, so there will be rotation near the Dallas Fort Worth metro area. But yeah, this is not that impressive as far as sounding goes. So you guys should be good. That's why we only have the slight risk for tomorrow. But let's get into Monday. This is Monday's event. We're gonna have to go pretty far north. Let's go into Kansas here. Let's take one into southeastern Kansas. So this is for Monday evening, I believe. All right, so we'll wait for this thing to load. Oh gosh. All right, so we don't have anything looking like. All right, so I think that was bad sounding because honestly, after all what we just saw, I mean that's got to be like an error or something. Okay, so I don't know. I think it might be a little bit too far out to look at sounding, so we'll save that for another video. Apologize about that. I mean, I know it looked a little stupid how I was like expecting a crazy sounding and we got nothing. I can't even tell what day exactly this would be. So let me go back to actually that, just try and figure that out. So we took a sounding right here. We took it right here. Yeah, so this would actually be Tuesday. So this would actually not be Monday. So let's put this back and all right, so this would be Monday here. Let's just look at this and see if we can get a little bit of a better sounding because I want to see what kind of environment we have based off of sounding. Yeah, I mean that's kind of not a good sounding because you saw what we looked at. We saw all the information backing that enhanced risk up. We have the enhanced risk there, so I think what we'll just have to do is we'll have to save the sounding for a future video once we get into the like the day 2 range. But that's gonna wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. I'll see you guys in the next video. So I'll continue to try and post updates as much as I can. I am off on Sunday and on Monday. I'm going to be a little bit more busy on Monday because I have a lot of studying and homework to do. But I'll try and get that finished up for you guys so I can get a lot of updates in. So I'll continue to try and post updates throughout the weekend. Continue to watch my videos and be sure to subscribe and have notifications on so you don't miss any updates. And I'll see you guys in the next video.